Okay, here's a short little. Well, we'll probably add this to one of our other videos, but this is a stock headlight switch for the 52 Ford truck. I just took it; it wasn't working, so I took it all apart just to see if I can fix it. I did. We did buy a just a generic one, and it works. I've got the wiring just jury rigged, so it's working. But I wanted to see, but I want to use the original not light switch. So I just wanted to see if I can get this thing to work. Um, that's the dimmer portion of it. Um, I already took this apart. I just finished putting it back together. There's three little tabs you just unbend. There's a spring and a couple contacts. I just uh, took emery cloth and wire wheeled that up and then put it back together, recrimped it. I tested it with an ohm meter and it seems to be working fine now when you put the that seems to be working fine. So now it's just this. That's the top part with all the contacts. The bottom part, I was just took emery cloth. It's covered in grease, like old, very old grease. Same with these contacts. It's all covered in old grease. I'll clean that off. There's a ball bearing that sits underneath there, and just two screws that hold that in. So I'll clean that up. Then I'll clean up all the contacts with emery cloth. I'll degrease it, put some new grease in there, and then I'll show you it putting it back together since I didn't film taking it apart. So I'll degrease everything, and then I'll start putting back together. And I'll show you that. Okay, so I just sprayed everything down with um, just safety solvent or brake clean you can use. So that's all nice and clean. The contacts are all nice and clean. There's a spring underneath each one of these. It's still in good shape. It's not broken. They spring up and down. There's a lot of tension there. The ball bearing is clean. That's all clean. Just took degreaser and then emery cloth to clean it up the contacts. They were corroded. Same thing I did with the dimmer, but I didn't show that. So now I'm just gonna quickly put it together. Where the ball bearing rolls to. There's three little divots. Before I actually do that, I will put some grease in there. And that's just dielectric grease, electrical grease. I'm pretty sure you can use regular grease, but that's just so everything moves freely. Don't need much of it. And the ball bearing, it just rides in a little hole there. So you can stick that in, make sure it goes into the first divot. And the part with the hole in it goes forward. Just sits there. A little bit more grease up top. Pretty good. So that's the bottom portion. Top, there's two different ways you can go, just that way or that way. And from memory, the two prongs were on on the right side. And I just pulled those up, but that's okay. They'll go back in. One. There. So the two prongs go on the right side. The only thing holding this in, there's crimps, two crimps on the back of each side and then one on the front. I just bent those back with a screwdriver. Now it's being difficult. There we go. That's in. Just a little pressure with the screwdriver on the original crimps. I'll probably end up tapping it with a hammer just to okay. So that's in. That piece just gets screwed on by two screws on the bottom. Just gotta remember that this contact goes on the outside. And before I tighten it up, I'm just going to put this piece in. That's the little chrome piece that you see on the dash, and I'll put that in just so it lines up, because this moves a little bit. Lines everything up. And tighten. That's, I wouldn't say it's rebuilt, but it's reconditioned. Now I'm just going to stick it in the truck, hook it up, and I'll just jerry rig a battery to it and see if the lights work. So I will, it takes a few minutes to screw all the electrical connections on, and so I'll be right back. Okay, I've got everything wired up. Basically, I took a wiring diagram off the internet, and we got power coming in, battery power. This goes to the headlights or the dimmer switch. That's the front marker lights. This is just a loop power that goes to that pin. You need that for the headlights. That's the rear tail lights, and then that's the all the dash lights. So when you pull it out halfway, and then you can see the dash lights are on. That's the lowest, and they get brighter, brighter, brighter until that's full. And I can't tell you that, well, then if you pull it again, that should be the tail lights, and I don't have the tail lights hooked up, but if I go to this, probe that, I got lights there. And when you push it in halfway, which should just be the dash lights, and I got no power. So everything seems to be working, there we go, according to plan. So yeah, reconditioned original 52 Ford headlight switch. I'll just have to repaint the L. And one quick thing, to get the knob off, there's a little button on the bottom. It's a spring button. You pull it all the way in, push it, and then sometimes push it and pull it out. And same thing going back in. So that's a little tip there. But now I can use the original, and it's a 6-volt switch, and you can I've converted it to 12 volts. It's a Speedway, like a painless wireless kit, so you can use these old switches for 12 volts. It'll take it. So yeah, it seems to work. So that's perfect. Then I don't have to worry about changing knobs and having different knobs for different switches. So everything will look consistent. So excellent. It works.